Morning, Jen.
Morning, Jenny.
Morning.
We're just about ready to roll. See a couple more signing in. We'll go one more minute. I like the tree in the background, Jenny. Well, I think, and to respect everybody's time, it's 9 o'clock. Let's kick this off, and kicking it off means, wow, what a cool day! What a great opportunity to share with you a new initiative that Director Panos and the DOT team have asked us to embark on, an effort to recognize that the Big Four oil counties, McKinsey, Williams, Montreal, and Dunn. It's just a huge work need, a roadway network that's vitally important to the state. And they've had a growth explosion since the 2008 oil kickoff. And how can we help them in developing a regional pattern and stuff like that? So it's an initiative that really starts with the director and his desire to make one transportation network. So with that, I'd like to maybe, Brian, if you could kind of give us a little bit of background on what Director Panos, your team are looking for and where we're headed, that'd be wonderful. Brian?
All right, sure. Thanks, Dale. Years past, we had some presence out in Western North Dakota with former DOT employee Dave Leftwich. He was working directly for our director at the time, and also Rory. He was also part of that, and to increase our presence out there, but also provide some assistance to the local agencies, whether that's the counties or the cities, helping out with some of the planning that was going on, keeping us informed on what was going on out there, because we don't always have the awareness with our current job duties to do those items. So to get back to that and increase that presence again, we are working and partnering with Upper Great Plains / LTAP to provide that assistance to those agencies out west now. There's a list of things, and I think what we'll do is we'll just have Tim go over those items, because I know there's been some conversations that have happened with Upper Great Plains and LTAP that on those directives. So, Tim?
Was I the second on the agenda, Dale? But that's okay. We'll go to that. Yeah. So anyway, I'll just put this up on screen. Is it sharing okay?
You're good.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to read everything to you, but just want to echo some of the things that Brian just started introduced as far as a meeting that we had with Director Panos and Ron Henke on January 9th. Just sort of this thing about kind of more of a seamless multi-jurisdictional discussion environment. And as I went on, I started thinking it was more like almost like the regional planning organization concept, without it being called the regional planning organization concept, but kind of follow some of the wisdom of the MPO concept early on, when really to get jurisdictions of all that are in a common area to have ongoing discussions and create an environment for discussions and that type of thing, without the rigid types of controls that go with an MPO. So again, some of the things that I and team developed for NDDOT here in this contract, that what an MPO would do is it wants to coordinate the transportation planning, the scheduling, asset management, and operations-based technology transfer concept, but just the discussions, not exactly control them, but just to make sure that some of the discussions are occurring, and sometimes just reporting what the actions are. And also then to promote somewhat of a uniform level of service concepts at the local road networks. And one of the comments that we did hear from Director Panos, and something from me working in the planning world for probably 20 plus years, is that, the public really doesn't identify that well when they, a big change, they shouldn't identify a big change in service when they cross a jurisdictional line. Say if you're going from Fargo to West Fargo, the street should be pretty similar in nature once they cross that line. Maybe it's somewhat could happen at the county, the state level as well. And so that was part of the discussion. Also, to come up with those jurisdictional transportation issues at the earliest time by attending maybe all the commission meetings, and then being aware that something is brewing at a county level, or they mention an issue, that someone should go talk to the DOT about an intersection with the county road, or an intersection with the city street that's sort of on the edge of the county. This is what we was also hoped would be identified earlier, and then it come up in maybe monthly conference calls. The second issue is to be aware of what's brewing in those 4 largest oil producing counties and the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation. And we want to coordinate that discussion with the Indian Reservation at a higher level. I want to go back in time a little bit. When I was with North Dakota DOT, we were talking about, like, how do we enhance North Dakota LTAP? And one of the easy ways was location. LTAP was centered in Fargo. To cover the rest of the state, you had to start at the farthest corner of the state to get to the other corner of the state. Central location was a little better. And that's sort of what we're hoping we'll gain here by having a representation in that area. That our tribal liaison is in Fargo. We're hoping that some of those concepts that they want to advance can be done in a face-to-face means as well. And then we also want to be able to be saying that if there's a problem arising and someone says we should go find training for that, someone can raise their hand and say, I know where it is, and that they could do that type of thing. So that's those are some of the main concepts that we're talking about. And again, I want to point out that this is not looking to be doing some type of control of people, of jurisdictions' independence. This coordinate those conversations to do things that, as I said, are done in other states in a regional planning organization way without them coordinating the project scheduling, but they're maybe making people aware through discussions. So we envision that there's going to be monthly conference calls of what, with the counties that are interested in attending, the cities that are interested in attending, and the state DOT and our LTAP entity, to make sure that we have this. And one thing, that as soon as we did this contract, of course, COVID arose. And so I'm sure that someone would say, everything's falling off, there's no traffic. And that instance will be remembered at the policy making time. But what they won't be aware of is if there's a rebound and when the rebound started and how big the rebound is. I've observed this in my life in the last 5 to 8 years. We'd say, anyone been up to the Williston area in a while? And he said, I was there, it's booming. And I said, wow, I didn't know it was rebounding that fast. That might be 4 or 5 years ago. And this is the type of thing that we want to be able to give to the jurisdictions so that they have reporting and reporting when they're talking about policy at the next legislative session. We aren't policy people, but that's we don't advance policy, but we hopefully provide the tools that lead to good policy. So I guess, Dale, does that kind of give an overview of what you had in mind?
Oh, that's us. Oh, cool. Yes, thank you, Tim.
Right.
So generally what Director Panos has asked is to have 1.5 people to help out and be based out of the Williston DOT office. So Joel Wilt has space when we can get to that point with COVID, where we will have presence by LTAP UGPTI team members that are working for all of us. It's a combined effort to make a difference, not to just be there, but to understand the system on a regional basis and implement changes, whether they're planning, whether they're recognizing funding issues, all of those. And so it will be imperative that we pass on all the information that we're getting to everybody on this call. And then there's going to be other stakeholders. We don't have WDA on the call yet. We're just introducing the program. We've got the oil industry. We've got others that will be brought into the fold. So making a difference was one of the big things that Director Panos wanted to make positive that we would pursue. And then also that what Tim talked about, there should not be across jurisdictional boundaries, whether it's state to county to tribal, a difference for the traveling public. So this position and a half, being on the ground, helping make a difference, changing the way we do things, and changing the way we do things. The exciting news is that this is a program that's going to run through the end of 2024, so just about a 5-year event. And we're hoping that things that grow here or developed here can be taken statewide. We've got a range of county skills and team levels that vary from 2 people in Sioux County on the road department to large full engineering teams. And how do we help those incrementally grow and plan? And then how does that fall into Operation Prairie Dog? So we're actually looking at more of a return on investment, cost benefit ratio in that kind of arena. So there's those aspects. So load pass, we've got Wise Roads. Wise Roads will be tapping into with a position and a half here. Kurt and Leanna happen to be collecting data today. They started yesterday. What do the gravel roads look like? What are the subsurface probes? What's the data that we can glean from that? Because this year, it's interesting in that the DOT, the Department of Emergency Services, our team, well, we've all had messages, you have, that the roadway network has never been this bad in recent recollection, right? The wet year just created problems. So what are things that we can glean out of the roadway engineering properties that can enhance the rest of the area? And the needs study tells us where we're at and where we need to be to maintain the level. But what is that next jump? We don't know. Maybe we can find out from this. Loading. The director is, of course, business is critical. We're the economic lifeline, the local roads, the township, county, city, tribal, roadway. How do we get more days? So we started with Wise Roads towards 365, where we're looking at with our study, how can we get more days of productive hauling, more commodity to market, be a better business model for the businesses. And what tools can we develop? We don't know. Would there be apps? Would there be processes? Do we take grit? So Brad's got the grit system, that construction layer, the planning layer. And typical feedback that I see from consulting engineers and contractors is a great tool, but it's sporadic. So how do we get more engagement there so that we get better bids? We're fortunate that oil country the pricing is now coming more into line where it should be. But if we give the contractors more information they can plan, we'll be in a better position to extend dollars, cover more miles. I like what Dennis Nelson and team have done in Williams County, and they just put out an article in Terry and Jenny, your Association of County News, on phase construction. How do we take and plan and build so that we right size the funding that we have with the engineering and construction aspect? A great article. Maybe that's the starting point that we take off from. The position out west is also meant to understand that area really well. All of us get out there periodically. All of us have contacts out there, but we're not in that position day to day. And the districts, Joel or Rob in Dickinson or Jim or his replacement in Minot, they have their areas, but we don't have that Rory Dave system that Brian and Tim described that's really looking at that big 4 county segment. So how do we look at that and come up with a way to move them forward? Because we've got powerful people, whether it's the city of Williston to the county of Montreal, we've got all of the area is powerful, but you know what it's like. You're busy, you're focusing on your work, your area, and it's hard to get out and see beyond that and grow or tap into what others are doing. This position is gonna spread that wealth of knowledge and level the playing field and hopefully float the boat a little bit higher. So we have a position open right now, full-time for the grant period of up to the end of 2024, maybe longer if the person would fit Upper Great Plains. We'd like you to help us figure out who could help out west. We've also got a half-time position. We have not got anything on the street there. We're looking for the right technician, construction management person, contractor, engineer that might come in and help supplement boots on the ground work. These positions will be working out of the Williston area, but could be doing work remotely right now. Our half-time position might be based in Bismarck and then spend a week or a day or two a week up in Williston. We're working on those kind of things. And so all that said, that's generally what Director Panos has asked us to do, the charge that he's given us, the path that Tim has laid. Brian's going to provide much of the oversight on the DOT end, even though the districts and planning and the entire team at the DOT is going to be helping guide us. And then it'll be functioning out of our Bismarck office of Upper Great Plains, North Dakota LTAP. And we want your help. Help to make sure we find the right person. Help to make sure you get the information you need, that we're asking the right questions, we're doing the right things, and help to figure out what we should be looking at. So with that, I hope that the cities, counties, township, tribe are extremely excited, because the DOT's put a big effort in making this happen. And it's a change that is so exciting that there's one roadway network that we're just extremely excited to be part of it. It's a growth pattern that matches all of our personal agendas. So with that, I'd like to open it up. What do you think?
This is Dennis, Williams County. I think it's wonderful. Wonderful. It just can't do nothing but help all of us. But one of the things that comes to mind is, as everybody has worked towards a little bit better planning or hoping and helping and whatever, and now we're into this circumstance that we're in now. Makes quite, it's going to be a quite interesting budget year, isn't it?
Very much so.
That's you know, and I know that Dale and I have spoke several times in those phasing projects. We did one in 2013, hoping to get to the paving end of it, or at least a hard cover on it by like 16. And of course we went through the bump in 16. And so it's been laying there since 2013, and we are going to get it covered up. It's a 2-year project, 20 and 21, but that's some of the bumps that I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know that anybody else is, but the planning and the that end of it, and all this, everybody collaborating together will be awesome. Awesome. It's a great idea, great things. Can do nothing but help everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, I just think the communication that being able to know what everybody is doing. I mean, there might be opportunities, especially in this time when we're short of money, to work together on a project, do a joint bid or something like that, because we know what they're doing. I mean, there's a lot of communication now, but it can only improve that. I think it's a great idea. I do think that we need to be real conscious of how this individual gets introduced to councils and commissions and things. It makes a lot of sense having the person located out of the district office in Williston, but I think really branding this person as Upper Great Plains as assistance to the county, and it doesn't look like it's DOT providing oversight, like you talked about in the start. We really need to somehow market that position, if that's the right word, that this is their person, their liaison, their go-to person to maybe bridge that gap. They're not there to tell them, well, you should really be doing this project instead of this project because it makes more sense in the regional sense, but helping them reach that conclusion and have those discussions. Yeah, I really think that how we present it at the very front is really, really important.
Wow, that is absolutely going to happen. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you know what?
almost like it's there will be our local government advocate, I think, is a way to maybe word that or maybe present that it's really our local government advocate to be able to help, you know, like you said, put those projects together and be able to work with our local township, cities, counties, tribal to do things right. Yeah, and also I think once that individual is there, it'll take a little bit to probably build that cohesiveness and that trust. But I think once someone is there and they know that they're there to help them, I see this position totally flourishing in that western part of the state. I think it's going to be great.
Love that, the local government advocate, and then the introduction. Do you know when we think back to what Director Panos and Ron really asked us for, they did not ever include any report back to them. And that's why, you know, Brian would be I think that's why it's set up that Brian would be our main go-to person. And that makes sense because Brian's the local government lead for the counties, and he's also the tribal lead. So it's a perfect marriage of keeping them informed, but absolutely that it's not the DOT oversight. The director did not ask for that, but keeping them informed like everyone else so that we're all moving the group higher. Awesome. Terry, thank you.
One more thing. This is Dennis again, Williams County. A few years ago, Dave Leftwich was kind of the liaison out in the western part, and it worked fairly well. And then he retired, and I can't remember his last name's Nelson, so I got that one right. I can't think of Rory Nelson, and that worked fairly well. So there might be some, at least a little bit of data from those people that you could carry on or continue on adding to.
Love it. Thank you, Dennis. Other thoughts, guidance?
Hey, Dale, how are you guys going about advertising for this position? Just curious.
Yeah. I need to put it on LinkedIn yet. We've got it on our NDSU website and we've been mailing it out, but we need to do more.
I do know a number of county websites. I don't know about cities, but county websites have usually an area of job postings. I don't know if it's just specific to their county, but since this is a partnership with our local government entities, that might be an option. Also, if you would have the job description, Terry, would you be okay with us putting it on our website or?
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah.
That would be such a big help. That is one of our biggest concerns, is making sure that the message gets out so we get enough good applicants, because you know it's an important job. It's going to take someone with a lot of transportation insight, and probably has to be at the right stage of their career or the right situation. So the more the exposure we can get, the happier we are, and we'd appreciate that.
Do we know anyone from the Association of County Engineers that we could check with posting there? Anybody?
I don't know, maybe me. Yeah, I mean, we could put it on our website as well. I was just thinking as if we'd be able to utilize those Western County websites. I mean, it would be nice if there's someone that's already settled in that area and you're not, you know, moving from one part of the state to the other in that regard. Again, I'm not sure what the policies are for those counties, but I think it definitely would be worth a call. But yeah, if we would want to post something on County Engineers Facebook page, absolutely. We're definitely willing to help any way we can.
Thank you. And we will be calling those and reaching out to the counties out west. Absolutely. And not just those 4, but that
Right.
area.
Yep.
That's what we're indicating. So we will do that. Thank you.
Dale, this is Blake. We have a business associates group that includes probably all the engineering consulting firms in the state.
Wow.
So like Tim said, if somebody's kind of in the middle and looking to make a transition, you get us a job description and we'll certainly include that on our website also, and specifically with our business associates. We'll kind of see if we can shake as many trees here as possible.
Thank you. Thank you. And Blake, on the invite today, we have Watford City and Williston that didn't reach out to Killdeer or others. So I'll need your help too if we can reach out to them and let them know it's Alexandria, others that we've got this in the go.
Well, and make sure that you also ask Jeff Simon from WDEA
Yep.
to put it on their site, because they probably pick up more traffic from the western part of North Dakota than the rest of us do on an individual website basis.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He's prepping for his webinar right now. That's he's on next. That's why he's not here. Oh, so
I forgot. No, I probably have it here somewhere. But what's your time frame for closing and everything?
June 1st, I will send out the job announcement right after this call, and it's June 1st. And just a reminder, that is for the one position, and we'd hope to have a benefited 30 to 40. We'd love 40 hours, but we're open depending on what the person's desires are. And then the halftime position, we have not put anything out. We're open to go hourly, to have benefited part-time, to contract. We could look at a consulting engineer and contract part-time. But ideally, we pull somebody into the team that's a higher level tech, construction management, somebody with some planning, some boots on the ground experience to give us a little diversity in the team.
Dale, I think we could contact our HR if we wanted to extend that June 1. And if that is possible, I just wanted to float that to the group. And if it doesn't interfere with your views, Dale, I'm thinking that what I'm hearing here today, we want to take some opportunity of this combined effort for marketing that job. I would, you or I get to Jody after this call, maybe move it to another week or 2 weeks, and it'd be worth the effort, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think that would be helpful, especially because we have a holiday that's coming up next week too. We might be losing a day there as well, and then giving the local entities some time to get that announcement posted on their websites and the like. I think, yeah, a little extension, I think, would do us all. That would be favorable.
good idea. Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks, Tim, for bringing that up. I was drinking coffee when Dale answered the question for Terry, and I can't drink coffee and listen at the same time, so I was wondering about that June 1st deadline. Little short.
Thank you.
Although the advantage is there's probably right now a bigger pool of candidates out there.
And it's growing.
Yeah, and if the price of oil starts going the other way, it might be a whole different matter. I don't know.
Yeah.
True. Well, are there any other comments or suggestions? And they don't stop here. Send them to me. If you've got anything that you're interested, focused on, it's going to be a team effort. Tim's going to help us kick this off in the field, and Brian at the DOT, and then everyone here. So all of our communication will be open. It's completely open, transparent. But when you want something done, if you talk to Brian, you could be talking to us. You talk to us, you could be talking to the entire group. So, well, in respect of everybody's time, we don't need to fill the hour. I was hoping for a half hour. That's where we're at. And this is just an intro. I wanted to let you know that we have an exciting new program through the LTAP Upper Great Plains in partnership with the DOT. DOT fully supporting that last mile, that first mile concept So our business model in the state is our transportation network is one, and our users only see one transportation network that makes us a strong and viable community and state. So with that, thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for putting this together, and I hope that the message gets back to Director Panos, and I'll try to deliver that as well, that we're really excited and we appreciate the dedication of the resources there.
Thank you. Everyone have a great day, safe travels, and happy Memorial Day. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, stay healthy, everybody.